There's a lot of talk about which teams are the biggest threats to the Golden State Warriors. Is it the Houston Rockets? Is it the Oklahoma City Thunder? Is it the Los Angeles Lakers? And bottom line, the only team that is a threat to the Golden State Warriors currently as constructed is the Golden State Warriors themselves. And I'm gonna break down why, because it's three factors. It's their defense, it's Klay Thompson, and it's Draymond Green. Those are the three factors that if the Warriors don't get that in check, then any team can beat them. Because it's not necessarily that the team is going to beat them. It's the Golden State Warriors are beating themselves. And, they just lost two in a row. But there's a reason for them losing two in a row. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the competition. Honestly speaking, it's more of an internal infrastructure problem that they need to fix. And they know they need to rectify this, or any team could beat them. The Clippers could beat them in the series. The Los Angeles Lakers could beat them in the series if they continue to do this. The Oklahoma City Thunder could beat them in the series. And the Houston Rockets could definitely beat them in the series if they continue to play and do some of these things that I'm about to mention. One of the first things that the Golden State Warriors have to do to not beat themselves and really dial it in is they have to really get on top of their defense. Currently, the Golden State Warriors are ranked 14th out of 30 teams in defense. Basically, their average defensive team. We all know to be a contender in the NBA, you have to have top 10 deep defense and top 10 offense. They have the offense somewhat percolating, but the defense is horrible. You can't be average defensively until you're going to win an NBA title. It doesn't work like that. Never. I think we've rarely seen that, but usually you have to be top 10 defensively. You know what I'm saying? Personal fouls per game. That's a great gauge of how well you're playing defense. How well are you moving your feet? How are you contesting without fouling? The Golden State Warriors are ranked 26 right now out of 30 teams in personal fouls per game. So basically, they're fouling a whole heck of a lot, not moving their feet. And then when you look at another thing is opponents' points per game. They're giving up about 111.5 per game, which, in the NBA, everybody is giving up more points. But you look at the Warriors, they're ranked 20th out of 30 for points allowed per game. 20th out of 30. So they're below average in that regard. They have to clean up their defense. They have to contest without fouling. They have to really put more effort into their defense and just try their best to contest shots. Then that moves on to the next point. Shooting. Klay Thompson, one half of the Splash Brothers. He is shooting 43% from the field, which is a career low field goal percentage. Then you look at his three-point percentage. He is career worst right now, 33%. You can't have that. You can't have that. 43% from the field, I think is third worst from the field, but 33% from three, and you're supposed to be the Splash Brothers? Nah, you're the Clank Brothers or the Clash Brothers, because everything you're shooting is not going in. So Klay really has to dial in his shot. He has to dial in his field goal percentage in terms of, getting his shooting right, getting his stance right. There's something that's going on with his shooting that maybe he just needs to rectify, get back in the gym, go back to the basics. Because, remember when he made those 14 threes, he was still struggling before he made those 14 threes. He had like a career low, 28% from the three. Now it's to 33%, but that's the lowest in his whole entire career. If you look at Klay's career, he's only shot in the 40s range, 40%, 41, 42, 40. So he's always within the 40 range. For him to go down to 33% is horrible. So Klay needs to dial in his shooting, or any team is going to beat the Golden State Warriors because they need Klay to shoot and space the floor. So that's how the things go there. And then we move on to the third thing with the Warriors that can beat them, which is not a team, it's themselves. You're looking at Draymond Green. Draymond Green shooting I think it's the second worst three-point percentage in his entire career from a rookie, 22% from three. He's generally in the 30% range. At least in the 30% range, you have to be honest. He could make a three here and there. Now you got to guard him. But 22% from three. So Draymond, like Klay, has to dial in his shooting, which, I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe he has to work with Steph, stay longer at the gym. I know he also was recovering from injury with the toe, but something has to give with his shooting. Then you're looking at his points per game, which is key. Is a key indicator of, how dialed in and how effective he is in the offense. He's averaging 7.5 points a game per game. That's about third lowest in his entire career since a rookie. The past 3 years before this season, he was always averaging double figures, either 10 points, 11 points. So the past 3 or 4 years, he's been averaging double figures. Now he's in the single digits. Well, if you have a starter that's in the single digits, that hinders your offense, and also that hinders your spacing because people aren't going to want to guard him. You're basically playing 4-on-5, and that's what the teams that have beaten the Golden State Warriors have been doing recently, playing 4-on-5 because Draymond isn't scoring. Even if you can't shoot the three, drive at the basket and get fouled, or drive. Then Clay and Curry can drive back out and get a screen, and then you kick out again. But those are the three factors: their defense, Clay, and Draymond. No other team is really gonna put up any competition for the Warriors because it's up to the Warriors to beat themselves. Because you're really not gonna beat them. Houston proved this as well last season. They had them up 3-2. Chris Paul goes down with an injury. The same, I think. The next game or the same. This game 6 in Oracle. Houston had a 20-point lead. They blow the lead. Now you can say with a 20-point lead, you have MVP and James Harden. You should be able to close out the defending champions. You should be able to. That didn't happen. Okay, game 7. You go to Houston. Houston is killing them. Had a 16, 17-point lead. Game 7, Golden State Warriors, remember, they were down 15-16. Houston blows the lead, loses game 7 on their home floor. I know they're going to say no Chris Paul, but guys, they had a 20-point lead in game 6, 15-point lead in game 7. You can't tell me that they wouldn't be able to close one of those games out. If you look at James Harden, he beat the Celtics single-handedly last night, scoring 45 points without Chris Paul. So one game that you needed, you had 2 cracks at it, you couldn't do it. So like I said before, Warriors aren't going to beat themselves. I'm not worried about any of these teams. You really just got to worry about them internally and what they're doing, which is their defense is horrible, Clay's 3-point shooting is bad, and Draymond's offense is anemic. Those are the 3 factors. If they don't tighten up, any team can beat them in a series. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, and subscribe.